All right, so let's go and get things going here. So, first of all, I really want to take the time to thank from the bottom of my heart Martha for coming on and doing this
Yeah.
webinar. I met her through SCORE. So she's done a bunch of seminars with SCORE. We have talked about the different ones that she's done. We figured that this one was going to be the most beneficial to you right off the bat. If you enjoyed this, she has a lot more, so we can definitely bring her back. Fingers crossed that, that you're not going to be traumatized by us. So with that, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Martha?
Cool. Yeah. So I'm Martha Krejci. That's how you pronounce all those consonants really close together. I run an 8-figure business from home. It's all via a personal brand, and then I've branched out. I used to work at GoDaddy for a little over 5 years. Quit my job the day that I got a video of my daughter taking her very first steps, when I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to miss the rest of this for, the rest of her life. And so quit my job, started an agency at that point. It was an SEO agency. Immediately within the very first month, started making as much as I was making at GoDaddy. And I've never really looked back. I've just constantly innovated and evolved with product offerings and that sort of thing in how I serve people. And now, nowadays, I mostly serve in an education standpoint, but then I'm building a software like everybody else and their mom is building a software, just with workflows and things like that make life easier. So I'm big into, I'll say it quietly, marketing. I'm big into marketing, but I'm bigger into psychology, right? So buyer psychology, the psychology of why somebody would want to buy what you have, specifically why they would want to buy it from you, and how do you actually create that journey via content. That's really at the end of everything. That's what I do. And I'll be showing you by the end of this hour, if you can believe it, by the end of this hour, you're going to have what you need to be able to go do this stuff on your own, like for your own business, to be able to see what content is necessary for you. And it'll whip up the content for you and everything, of course. So yeah, there's that. This is going to be so Adam, I'm able to share my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So you guys are able to go to a doc that is I put it at a domain name recently. So it is at stealmyprompts.co. Let me know if you guys are able to get to that. This is going to be a back and forth. Okay. So this is going to be sort of a conversation with you guys. I do not enjoy talking at people. I love talking with people. So that's how this is going to be there. I see you guys popping in. Okay. I see you guys coming in. So that's cool. All right. So here we go. This is your document that you're going to be able to use. You're going to have this. This is the same one that I use for different trainings. If you pop back to this document every once in a while, I also make changes to it and I update it. So if you ever just want to kind of just keep it off to the side and see what I'm talking about, then you'll just see, you'll see the new stuff that's put on there just whenever I make updates to it. So steal my prompts. When using any AI, obviously, I imagine you guys are well-versed in AI in some capacity. And whenever using any AI, the context and the background is the stuff that matters. I think the biggest mistake that I'm seeing in a marketing capacity, lots of mistakes I see, mostly mistakes of people just copying and pasting from ChatGPT with all the emojis and just sharing it right to social media, where I'm like, what? People know you don't talk like that. But anyway, like, don't do that. Don't do that. But another huge mistake that I see is whenever people are using AI, they're not giving it any context and they're not giving it enough details that actually matter for it to be able to, because its whole job is to make predictions, right? Like that's all that it does, is it makes predictions. And so how can it make a good, solid prediction on the content that needs to be created or on anything how can it do that if it doesn't have the right kind of dialed in info? So I feel like in this world of AI, people are like, oh, this is awesome. AI is going to do it for me. I don't have to do anything. But then they have also made themselves incredibly lazy and not actually put in enough info for it to be able to do a good job. Okay. So just don't be those people. And with this, you're going to not be those people. So there's a few GPTs here that I've made. And that's what I'm going to walk you through actually doing right now. Okay. And so I want to use somebody as a guinea pig. So somebody's business, just go ahead and put it in the chat. Well, just put in the chat what you do. And then I'm going to run this stuff for one person's business. Let me do the paramedic thing because it's so niche. I want you to see how we can do this even when it's, no, I love that it's niche. I love that it's niche, but let me go into the chat. There we go. Make wearables for paramedics to listen to patient-medic conversations and turn them into automated reports. This is interesting. I've never, like, this is, you can tell I enjoy a challenge and I'm taking this on because I want to see the tools make this happen because this is going to be crazy. It's not just B2B, but it's B2B in a very, very niche way. So I'm interested in this. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So we're going to click on first the avatar analyzer. And what it's going to do is it's going to give us a psychographic breakdown of our person. So let me go to it, share this tab instead. So I am going to just put in what you said. Actually, I'm going to say my client makes wearables. And I know you're not my client, but I don't want ChatGPT to now think that this is what I do because that would be, oh my word. How do you destroy your GPT in 3 seconds? Okay, so my client creates wearables for paramedics. Da, 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 da. Okay, it's probably gonna. I'm certain it's gonna ask some questions. So stay close to your chat here. Okay, who's the primary buyer? So is it the paramedics, the EMS directors, hospitals, municipalities?
Do you care if I unmute and talk?
Oh, no, go right ahead. Yeah, go ahead and answer.
So it's going to be EMS directors that they're going to write the check, but paramedics are going to be the end user. And I'm trying to solve documentation burden and missed details. It makes it different because there's nothing like this on the market. I mean, there is something like this on the market, but nothing that's hands-free that incorporates into the whole system.
Yep.
And the competitor is called CareSwift.
Okay. So wait, what problem is your client trying to solve with this wearable? So what is the problem?
Documentation burden, missed details, and missed revenue due to billing.
Ooh, there we go. Okay. Details, missed revenue due to billing, correct?
Yep.
And what makes the solution different? There's not really anything else on the market, you said, right?
Yeah. It's hands-free. That you can definitely put that. And we're faster than I think everybody else at this point. So
okay. And then you said competitors. What did you say? I'm sorry.
It's called CareSwift.
Am I spelling it right?
Yeah, I think it's careswift.com, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, now let's let it play. This is going to be fun. This is exciting. Okay. That's just the input. So just confirm, would you also like insights into EMS leadership decision factors on tech adoption? I can't see it. Or e.g. budgets, ROI thresholds. I want the info on the person that needs to searching for this solution. It's going to figure that out. Again, let's let it make its predictions. There we go. All right. Rolling context typically serves EMS director, operations chief, procurement lead within a municipal EMS agency, private ambulance service, or hospital-based EMS division responsible for oversight. Primary goals and responsibilities, streamline documentation workflows. Why they would search for a wearable solution. They're looking for a hands-free system that automatically generates accurate reports, freeing up medic attention, buying triggers and motivations, seeing repeated documentation errors or billing losses, agencies' desires to reduce turnaround time for report completion, pilots or grants focused. So this is all the stuff. Common objections, fear of adding. So this is important. Objections that as the owner, as the business owner or the founder, it's hard for us to hear objections because we immediately want to kick back against them. Like, no, my baby is beautiful. And we know that your baby's beautiful, but these common objections, it's so good to hear this stuff because we need to get very solid and graceful in our response to them and create content as a response to them, right? So fear of adding new devices or tech complexity while on scene. Questions about voice recognition accuracy. So being able to speak to that and answer that, especially in noisy environments. Concerns about data security, HIPAA compliance, and vendor reliability. Uncertainty around integration with the current EMS software.
Yeah, it didn't mention AI, which I was surprised at AI adoption. So
yeah, that we're kind of quickly moving into a place where I think everybody is, they know they've got to do something. But yeah, that may live inside of this HIPAA compliance fear also, or hesitation, the compliance of it all, like with the AI. But yeah, I would still probably create some content around it. How they talk, language patterns you should hear, words like fully automated documentation, hands-free transcription, real-time capture on scene. Value phrases, eliminate documentation backlog, capture all chargeable tasks, improve revenue cycle performance, pain descriptions, lost billing notes because they weren't filed in time, paramedics spending hours after call finishing paperwork. Messaging and positioning angles. Productivity gain. So free your team from hours of paperwork. Report generation happens in real time. Revenue recovery, stop leaving money on the table, capture every billable intervention accurately. In your sales page on your website, you're speaking to the EMS director, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Compliance and audit, ensure audit ready, error-free documentation, link directly to care, paramedic friendly, hands-free, wearable device designed with EMT's flow in mind. Recommended next steps. It's going to give you all of this stuff. I don't know if you guys are able to hear this, but this is when they've decided to come trim the hedges outside my window. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I am going to stop there. I am going to copy all of this. I think that was it. Yeah. What you guys will do in using this tool is you will actually copy and paste this. I'm a big fan of redundancy. So copy and paste this into Google Docs to save it there or wherever you save files. And then also download it as a TXT file and have it saved on your desktop or somewhere that you can locally grab it quickly. Because this is something that you'll be able to use and input into different bots left and right. And it's got everything that you need about your buyer. So I'm just going to copy it because I'm not going to create a TXT file on my machine right now because it doesn't make sense to. But I'm going to go back here into the SteelMight prompts. So we're done with that GPT. I'm actually going to skip this GPT today. You can go into it later. I don't want to kill a bunch of time. You can go into it later, But this brand voice finder, people make the mistake of thinking that if they just put words on a screen, if they just communicate an idea to people, like if you were to just grab that, you know, that the info from the avatar analyzer and put that on a page, that people will read it and they'll just understand it, right? But what they don't realize is that even in a niche so niche as this, even in this, it still needs a vibe. It still needs to have a voice, right? And so for this one, it's probably going to be a high trust voice, a voice of somebody that is probably it's going to be the voice of an EMT director. It's going to be that type of voice. But it will tell you, the brand voice finder will help you determine what the voice needs to be. Okay. So I'm going to move on to this, which is the pillars and the awareness levels. Okay. So now I'm going to back up for a second. Let's hop into psychology for just a couple of minutes. Okay. So the buyer levels, the levels of awareness as they are, is how you continue to create buyers. So people's mistake that everybody does is they will always have like this urgency messaging. It'll say 20% off, or, you know, buy it by tonight and get X, Y, and Z, or whatever. It's all that urgent messaging. But the reality is that that urgent messaging is actually only good and actually only works for 2 to 3% of your active audience at that point in time. People do it once and then it works. And then they falsely believe that, oh, it worked, so it'll keep working like that over and over again moving forward. Well, that's not the case. You're going to hit an exhaustion point, right? So you're going to, if you have those same buyers and you keep giving them that same messaging, you're going to hit an exhaustion point where they keep hearing, buy it now, buy it now. And people are like, I'm done. Like, I'm so annoyed with these people. Like, that's just what happens. Instead of what you should be doing, which is building a buyer as you go, right? And so let's talk about the different stages of awareness, and then urgency, or that last step, that 20% off or whatever, that last step. That is what works whenever you have built a buyer along the way. And then you've always got new people coming up the stairs and hitting that fifth stair, and then being able to hear that urgent message and make the decision and do the thing, right? But if not, you're going to have some sales in the very beginning, but then you're going to start backsliding almost immediately. And then you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I think there's something wrong with my business. There's not anything wrong with your business itself. It was wrong with the messaging. It's just that you're not building buyers, right? And so that's what we're going to be doing through all of this. So the very first stage, completely unaware, no idea that they even need what you have, right? Just completely, just blissfully unaware. Second step is that they're symptom aware. So they realize, so in this case, they realize that billing is getting a little out of control. They're missing billing things, or that maybe they're paying too much hourly to the paramedics whenever, you know, if they're having to take all of these notes, there's a bunch of, you know, hemorrhaging of hours going out just for that and not actually doing the job, right? And so like that's a symptom of an issue that this solves, right? And so when they're symptom aware, what they start to do is they start to research. Okay, well, how do we fix this, right? Whatever the symptom is, how do I fix this? What is this? What is the bigger problem here? And then whenever they determine what the bigger problem is, and in this case, the problem is that they don't have, you know, an automated note taker, or I'm not going to get into the details because I don't want to butcher your product, right? But that they don't have this thing. Their problem is that their people are spending too much time taking notes, or their problem is that they have inaccuracies or that they're not able to bill for things because, you know, it's been too long and whatever. And they realize that that is the problem. Okay. Well, once they realize that's the problem, now they start researching solutions, right? So when I realize I have that problem, my next step is, okay, cool. I can deal with the problem because now I'm just going to try to find the solution. Well, in searching for the solution, you need to be able to find that content, right? That supports you being the solution to that problem. And I'm not talking about just on your website. It can be also on your website, but it needs to exist, honestly, in many different places, especially now while people are going to Perplexity, to OpenAI, to Gemini, to all of these different places to search. Those different places are grabbing from multiple different types of sources. Okay. Something that I actually just saw this morning that kind of blew my mind is that one of the sources that they're all grabbing from right now based on data is that they don't care so much about domain authority, which just throws every SEO on their head. They don't care, like, of all of the line graphs, bar graphs, whatever, all of them were at like 80%, 80, 90. Domain authority was at like 15 to 20. It was really, really low in comparison to finding testimonials. So testimonials of that person's stuff, that's what the AI were wanting to grab. And the testimonials that they grabbed, the biggest ones that they wanted to grab were the ones that had the most emotion attached to them. Isn't that the most wild thing?
So do you, by domain authority, do you mean my domain authority would be my main website and then the reviews of my product from different sources, whatever emotion?
No, domain authority is a SEO term. It's like
Okay.
an actual number that's associated with
Okay.
the SEO of your website. Yeah, or the SEO or the authority of your domain. You can just look it up after this, but it's but it doesn't matter much anymore apparently. So there's also that. But yeah, we'll talk about all of that stuff here in a second, because as we're going through these different stages of awareness, they should all exist on your website. And right, it's not this or this, it's an and situation, right? And so the biggest piece is the way that I handle it all anyway is I'll make a blog post because it's an update on your website, right? So you get the SEO juice from it. But you make a blog post and then you pair it with a YouTube video that's 5 to 8 minutes long. This is a writer downer if you guys aren't taking notes right now. You make it a YouTube video also that's 5 to 8 minutes long. Don't make it longer than 8 minutes. That's actually the sweet spot as per the head of YouTube right now in this time. And so you link them, you interlink the two, right? So I put the YouTube video, I embed it inside of the blog post itself. So you still get the watch time and people still get to watch the video, but they don't end up on YouTube and wherever YouTube wants to take them, right? So they're still on your website, but then you also have the content on the blog itself. And so that's like just a 1-2 punch in content creation without adding the outside part of social media, or frankly for this, just probably LinkedIn, honestly. But that would be like your big searchability points for this niche in specific. Your big searchability points are going to be YouTube, the blog, white papers. If you can, and I'll show you how to determine what you should be putting there. But I would put 12 white papers a year and just one a month. The white papers really look like, and this is again because of AI search and how it runs, it really loves the hierarchy of what term papers look like. So for those of you guys that love creating or loved writing term papers, you've got something to do again, because it loves the hierarchy of topics. It loves the third-party outsourcing, or the third-party linking out to third parties that are peer-reviewed. So whenever you have all of those pieces together, you become kind of a honeypot for the AI engines. They really want to send people to you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, do you mean third-party linking from the white paper itself or from the blog post itself?
Yes. So you link out to, so like PubMed or whatever, you know, whatever your thing is that you would link out to just as source material. You know what I'm saying? Like where you would have, you're talking about this topic and then you're citing your sources at the bottom and then you're linking out to those sources. Okay, cool. Well, I went sideways just a little bit, but solution. So we got on our stairs. Let's get back on our stairs. So we went unaware to symptom aware to problem aware to solution aware. And then we go to vendor aware. Solution and vendor aware kind of share the same step. Vendor aware is where they're finding they know what they want now, and now they're deciding between you and anybody else that does it, right? And so this is where testimonials really come into play. That's the biggest thing on this step, is to set yourself apart from other people, and that's via testimonials. And then the last one is the urgency step, and that's where that they know, and it's super aware, hyper aware, aware. And people call it different things, but essentially that is where somebody knows their problem. They know they want to work with you. They just haven't started working with you yet for whatever reason, like something else came up or whatever. And so that urgency works on them, but it only works on them. And so now you guys can probably understand easily how, if we're always building a buyer with this content, if we're always doing that, then you've always got new people on that fifth step, you know? So if you were to send out an email, like an email marketing, if you were to send out an email and say, you know, jump in for whatever your urgency statement is, then you're actually going to get people doing that thing as you have new people on the step, right? You could do an urgent email once a month and have it still work, right? And so the last thing I want to say about the steps, and then we'll go into the GPT, is that the caveat here is that if you are doing these steps, so like as you're creating content for, you know, you really kind of don't create content for the first step. So as you're creating content for the second step, the third step, and so on, make sure that you always have content for every step of the way. The reason why is because if you're creating a buyer and then you get to the third step, but you don't have any content for them to go to, or you don't have any, you know, you've proven to them that this is a problem that they have, but you have not proven to them that you are the solution yet, or you haven't given any solution content yet, then they're going to, they'll be like, okay, yeah, I realize I have this problem. I'm not seeing solution content here. And so I've got their knee-jerk thing that they're going to do is they're going to go into the Googles or into AI, and they're going to try to find the solution. So what you're essentially doing is you're warming up a buyer for your competitor. So you do always have to make sure that you have the content. So like, that's the thing that it's almost like, I love teaching this to people, but also like, if you're going to do it, you have to do it, because, or else you're building a buyer for somebody else. So just make sure you're making all of the content, but this GPT is going to make it easy for you. Any questions before we get into this GPT?
Hey, so when you said make content, does it mean, and I know what you're saying about warming up the buyer for the third party.
Yeah.
In the world I'm in, you know, with these technical white papers, they're just kind of looked down upon to kind of like reference yourself. It's more supposed to be impartial, and then the blog post, it doesn't matter, right? So are you talking about from the blog post, like, oh, this is the problem and this is how our stuff solves it? Is that what?
That's how the blog post will go. Yeah, that's not the white paper, but that's how the blog post will go. The white papers, if you can have them done, if you can have them created along the way, like, you essentially, you pay somebody to make a white paper for you, right? If you can get those done along the way, that's amazing. But if you can't, then just do 12 term paper sort of things around the content pillars that we'll get into here in a second. Do like one kind of term paper, one super long form term papery blog post that just breaks down something that they need to know about. And then you can cite sources in that, and it doesn't need to be a white paper as such. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We already have white papers and stuff. So, but yeah, this is.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Boom. Great. Love it. Okay. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to usually right here, what I would do is I would click the plus sign and I would add the file, the TXT file for my avatar analyzer that I already did. I just copied yours, so I'm just going to paste it in here in a second. And I would also add your brand voice. Okay. I would add those two things and then it will be able to get to work. But right now I'm going to add your avatar analyzer. And then, oh, I can't get to my button, doggone it. Hang on, let me move this guy. And then whenever using this, let's see how it does right now. Okay, whenever you're using this, what I would like you to do, because this specific GPT that I made, it has so much like training in it, so much stuff that I put into it that sometimes sometimes it misses the thing that I want it to do, like the big part of what I want it to do, which is to give me 12 pillars that can support 30 content topics each. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, okay, thank you. Now please give me 12 pillars, and I'll go into what the pillars are here in a second, that can support 30 content topics each. There we go. And so remember that I typed that in. You'll need to write that down, because with this, again, when you give them a bunch of, that's for those of you, I'm sure you've all created GPTs. When you give them a bunch of instruction, sometimes like those basic ones don't stick as easily. But it's a good GPT aside from that. Okay, so the pillars, what these pillars are, just so you know, are essentially, they are content pillars around what you do. So other things that person, your avatar, would also be looking at, that would also be like catching their interest. So if we can create content around those things as well, and this is also where joint venture partnerships can really come into play as well. So maybe one of the pillars is something that you don't necessarily do, but you could educate on it, but you don't like do it. You could bring in like guest blogger, whatever. You could bring in somebody, talk about their stuff. And then if you reference that person and you send people to them, obviously, you know what a JV partnership is. You could just get like a referral situation going on there, however you want to negotiate that. But that's how you just explode your business altogether. That's most of my business was grown. It was all grown organically. It was grown without ads, but then it was grown via joint venture partnerships. That's most of my business has grown that way. All right. So
could I ask a quick question?
Go right ahead.
So the next step after this is obviously the urgent messaging, right? And then you're generating all this content. So if you do a joint venture partnership with someone, would it essentially lead to urgent message on their page, or where would it go in their world?
It depends on what the message is. It depends on where it depends. I mean, we can't get into the weeds or the details of that. Like, let's get into something here. And whenever I see something that could be a joint partnership, then I could answer a question like that specifically, but I can't just like arbitrarily do it. But let me, if I see something, then I'll circle back to it. But essentially it's like, maybe it's talking about, I'm just going to say like CPR something, just because it's medics. And maybe you work with somebody who does that CPR training or whatever. I don't know. I'm not in your niche, but I'll do the best I can. Then you would reference that person and say, hey, I suggest working with X, Y, and Z. And then whenever they work with X, Y, and Z, you just get a kickback. So it's not like your urgency moves along with them. They're still working with you for the awareness levels of what you give them. They're still in your content for that, but you're sending them somewhere else for just pillars that go alongside it. So content isn't ever just linear. I think that's maybe what I need to touch on here real quick. Content's never linear. It's always more of like a network and a spider web. So you're kind of going three directions at once, which is why you always need to have those different steps always taken care of. So people are able to take these different steps with you. And if they pop off to do the EMT thing, they know that they're coming back to you because they trusted you enough to pop off to do the EMT thing. Does that make sense?
Pretty much, except the last part when you said they pop off to the EMT thing, like they went to my blog to check out something, or is that what you mean? Or?
If you're referring business to somebody else as a joint venture partnership, if you're referring that business to somebody else, they're going to end up on somebody else's website, right? They're going to end up in somebody else's world. And so when I say pop off to go do that thing, I mean pop off to go do the thing you referred for them to do in your content.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. If you guys aren't doing JV partnerships, it's totally a game changer. So, okay. Here's where the awareness stage, so identifying the pain and creating curiosity around it. The first pillar, documentation fatigue and EMS. So the purpose around this pillar is to empathize with the daily burden on medics and to show you understand. The keywords, EMS documentation overload, EPCR fatigue, paramedic paperwork, hooks, why your best medics are dreading the paperwork, the hidden cost of every missed detail. That's good stuff. Sample topics, why paramedics are burning out from documentation and what to do. A day in the life of EMS documentation, timeline breakdown. That's great stuff. Top 5 complaints medics have about current EPCR systems. So pillar 2, revenue leakage in EMS agencies. That one's going to be hot. That one you should put in Vegas lights right there. Purpose, call out the money left on the table. Anytime you're talking about revenue, you know how it goes. Call out the money left on the table due to missed or incomplete documentation. Keywords, EMS billing loss, revenue cycle in EMS, missed charges, EMS. Hooks, how EMS agencies lose $50K per year in missed charges. If it's not documented, it's not billable. How much revenue is lost when, these are sample topics. How much revenue is lost when patient details get skipped. 3, overlooked billing errors that sabotage EMS revenue. So we're just going top level. I'm just going to drill down on these, and then I'm going to show you how we go further. So this is just the very top of what it does. The reason we do 12 pillars with 30 topics each, I think is pretty obvious, but that gives you a year of content. Whenever you have a year of content, you now have a never ending, forever and ever, amen, content flywheel, because if you create that same content a year from now, if you create something today and something a year from today, people are not going to remember it, A. But B, the best way to do that is actually because internal linking, so I'm going to get very nerdy here, internal linking in SEO, internal linking in your website is just fantastic for link juice. And so when you have an old blog, like one that, say you write one today and then you write one a year from today, the one from today, what you would do is you would grab the link for the one that you wrote today. In a year from now, you write a new one with updated info, because there's always things that are changing. And so you write that same thing with updated info, but on the old blog, you would say updated 2026 version of this here, like at the very bottom, you just make that hypertext, and then that links now to the new one a year from now. So the old one links then to the new one, and you keep going forever and ever, amen. And so when you have just 1 year of content, you have an eternity of content always. So anywho, pillar 3, real life chaos of on-scene documentation. Pillar 4, the evolution of EMS technology. 5 EMS technologies revolutionizing patient care. Consideration stage. So this is where they know that, well, they're trying to find who to work with. Comparison and solution positioning. Wearable transcription solves documentation problems. So sample topics, how hands-free transcription actually works during the call. So you see how we're handling these different actual steps that they're in. CareSwift versus your brand, real comparisons. Interesting. Sample topics, your brand versus CareSwift, feature by feature breakdown. Why seamless wearable integration matters in real-time EMS. Case study, why one agency switched from CareSwift to your brand. That's gold. Pillar 7, ROI and time savings for EMS directors. Pillar 8, compliance, QA, and HIPAA security. Oh, that's good. That's good. Implementation stage, prove adoption and scale success. So pillar 9, field tested, real world EMS use cases. Pillar 10, integration with existing EPCR systems. Getting medics to love the tech. That's good. Building the modern EMS operation. So here's what we go. Build out the first. This is what I want. So you could do this, which is what I'm doing. And it's, at the bottom, it's always going to ask you, what do you want me to do? You could do this, or another thing that I've done is I would just copy this. And I know it's extra work, but say, whoops, go back up. Say, please give me the 30 content topics for this.
This GPT is very good. I'm just surprised at how good it is without knowing a lot of the ins and outs of the industry and the niche stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's GPT naturally is good. This has got a lot of my own training behind it on how to be able to find things as well. So GPT is naturally good. I'm not saying I'm smarter than AI, but I'm saying I programmed this GPT myself.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Like, your training is fantastic. Whatever you did to it. If I put it in, yeah, so regular GPT.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. I as an entrepreneur, I think I live for pats on the back. So I appreciate that. We'll take it. Pillar. Okay. So pillar 1, documentation fatigue and EMS purpose. Empathize with the burdens medics face and validate the need for change. And we have the keywords, the hooks, and then here they go. So why your best medics are dreading the paperwork more than the scene. The real mental load behind every EPCR submission, a day in the life of an overwhelmed paramedic, time audit breakdown. Let's do this because that's detail. I want to do this one. Any of these you'd be able to grab and just do this with, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, please write out a blog post for this that has the, and don't roll your eyes or glaze over on me when I say this. There's a reason I say it. That has the ability to go viral. Might be like we're doing EMT virality stuff, but it's going to, it will give it a hierarchy that's punchy and bulleted, which then makes it very easy to read. So you don't have the like, you know, TLDR effect, but it'll make it very nice. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so day in the life of an overwhelmed paramedic, time audit breakdown. Spoiler alert, the patient isn't the only one under stress during a 12-hour EMS shift. The medic is too, only their pain doesn't show up on the monitor. Now, you might be like, is this the right voice to be using for an EMS director or whatever they're called? It might not be, but again, you would be using your brand voice. You would have added your brand voice to this, and it would be doing this in that brand voice. I didn't add a brand voice to this. So 7 a.m. First of all, whenever you post these, take the emojis out. Okay. 7 a.m. shift starts, and so does the clock. Coffee in one hand, radio on, uniform stiff from yesterday's dried sweat. The crew runs the usual vehicle check, restocks supplies, and mentally preps for what the day will throw at them. Time spent documenting so far, 0 minutes. Mental load, building. 8:12, first call, fall at a grocery store. All right, so they went through this a little bit. On the drive to the hospital, they speak kindly to the patient, asking questions, collecting history, noting medication names. They're in the moment, focused. But here's the kicker. None of this gets documented yet. Why? Because they're either jotting keywords on a glove, which will get tossed, replaying it later from memory, or like many, just stacking it for later again. Time to complete EPCR after drop-off, around 23 minutes. Time actually spent on the scene treatment, around 15 minutes. Report quality, decent but missing key billable details, name of medication, vitals, trends, specific interventions. 10:40, call number 2, chest pain at construction site. So I think we're seeing how this is, okay, and now they're building it. So total charting time, 31 minutes, scene time, 18 minutes. Mental exhaustion index, 3 fires. And then the stacking begins. I'll chart it when we get back. What was that guy's address again? Wait, did we give nitro before the ECG or after? This is where documentation fatigue turns into documentation risk. I would write those words down if I were you. That's marketing talk right there. That's something that you know how it works. People move, it's like the donkey, right? They move toward a carrot or they move away from a whip. And this would be the whip for them for sure. Missed fields, vague descriptions, reimbursement gaps, QA flags, all because the charting process didn't fit the reality of the EMS. All right, 6:50, shift ends, or does it? Shifts over on paper, but the laptop's still open. Final report to finish, QA review reminder just popped up. The medic's still documenting, off the clock, unpaid, mentally drained, and frustrated. The breakdown, where the time really goes. And there it is. Overtime to finish charts. Unpaid documentation. Total missed chart revenue. There, we got numbers. Emotional toll, priceless. This isn't just fatigue, it's a broken system. This isn't laziness, it's not bad training, it's not lack of care. It's that medics are being asked to deliver life-saving care while also being part-time stenographers. Wow. So how does this look for you as something that you could put out as content?
It's really good. I thought the tone in the beginning was a little slightly off, but overall though, I mean, it's like 95% there, you know, just a little bit of polishing and it should be good to go.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, if we can get you 95% of the way there, that's awesome. And then at the bottom, see how it's even doing this. So it's even doing it because we asked it to go viral. It's even saying, want to share this, tag a medic who's felt this fatigue or an EMS director who needs to see what their team's really up against. Like that's, you're having internal calls to action, which are like, there's no way that your competitors or anybody in your field is doing anything like this, period. I cannot even imagine a world that they are doing something like this in that field, right? It's quick to rise to the top whenever you've got good stuff. So that is, we're at 326. Okay, so let me back up just one. Wait, no, I can't really back up. Okay. I'm going to do one more thing here, and then I'll just answer any general questions that we have. Okay. I'm going to do it with this. Because once you do that first pillar, you're just going to move down, and then you'll do this one. You'll say, please make 30 content topics for this pillar. And so whenever you are, I just want to kind of talk about organization of this now, because that's the part that is like, whoa. What I do is I grab all of my 30 topics. So I have a Google Doc, and I have nested docs inside of it, right? I hope we all do. And so the first doc has got the 12 pillars, right? And then within the 12 pillar, then I'll make another doc where it's pillar 1 with all of the 30 contents, right? Or the content topics. And so it's a link, it's linked out to the other document. And then the other document is then linked out to the different blog posts that you've made. And you don't need to make them all at once by any means. You shouldn't. GPTs keep getting better and better. So let it get better and better. But just, whenever you've made that first blog post, you just get it in there, so you know that you made that one, and it still exists there in the hierarchy of files that you have. So I just kind of want to talk about how to organize that. But yeah, so there's pillar 2, 50,000. Let's just have it make this real quick, and then we'll go to any questions that you guys have. Please write a compelling blog post about this that has the ability to go. It feels weird to say that. It feels very like TMZ to say that, but it is what it is. It's how it writes it. So let's see, the $50,000 mistake. That, I mean, come on, that gets everybody's attention. How incomplete EPCRs cost EMS agencies thousands. The culprit. Yeah, good stuff. And it's when you see these breaks here, don't discount these breaks. Don't ever do the wall of text. Like if you copy paste this and it loses markup for whatever reason, and it kind of goes wall of text on you where you don't have the spaces in between them, go back through, take the time, put the spaces there, because our brain scans it first to determine if it can commit to reading it. If people aren't going to read it, none of this matters, right? So that's another thing. But there you go. Let me stop sharing my screen, and that is stealmyprompts.co if you guys didn't get that before.
Thank you so much. That was incredible.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the challenge of, me seeing if my tools were actually up to par and being able to handle that.
Yeah, that's why I love doing webinars with you, the presentations, because like you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna fly off the cuff and just take a question. I'm like, oh, here's a good one. And it always turns out like, oh, you're testing your own system just to see if you can break it, and you don't. So that's awesome.
Yes, that's exactly it. That is exactly it. That's funny.
All right. Any questions? Raise your hand. And oops, I don't need to raise my own hand. Any questions for Martha? I can't believe it.
That's wild.
I know. You did such a good job. You broke them.
They've all fallen off their chair. Yeah, they're either asleep, they're on the floor somewhere. They're gone cross-eyed.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, groovy. I know it's Friday. I know it's 4:30. Or 3:30. I take that back. You got a
Josh.
question? Go ahead, Kaju.
It was Josh.
It was me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
How long did it take you to put this all together, Martha? And kind of like, how long have you been doing this? I missed the first few minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I've been doing this since last Tuesday. No, I'm just joking. I worked at GoDaddy. I started there in 2011, kind of got my marketing chops there. Started my own business in February 2016. So I've been doing this since then, but obviously AI, I was working in AI before OpenAI came out. But it wasn't too long before. It was like 6 months before. But that's where I just kind of got my feet wet, and I realized what we really could do with it and how cool it would be to integrate my strategy marketing mind into a tool that allows other people, so I don't have to coach all the time and everything. Like, just go, here is this, this is what you need. So yeah. So how long is that? I don't know, probably 3 years, 4 years now, 3-ish.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. I love it. It's fun. I did brag yesterday that I didn't use any AI yesterday though. And I think the rest of the world was like, when I posted that, I didn't get very much engagement. And I think that's because everybody else is like, well, I never do, like I posted it on Facebook, so everybody else is like, what are you talking about? But it was like a day I didn't use AI. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I did okay. I made it.
That's funny. Ray, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Hi. Are you doing this? I mean, it's not the same question as Judge, but I think you do this already for a while, right?
Yeah.
And I see that you're working with the Google Doc, and then you put an input into the first GPT, and then the output from that one, you would put it into the second one, and so forth, right? So is it your I'm gonna say your vision at some point to use agents for this kind of work?
Instead? I actually have a software that's almost finished right now, and it's workflows. So it is agent.
Right.
I mean, it's essentially, it's agents going to and from Claude also, honestly, because Claude's really that heavy hitter right now. So it's So I am. Yeah, thank you.
Because that would really optimize what you're doing, and it would save a ton of times and bring a lot of value. I mean, in the future, it doesn't need to be now, but if that's your goal, that would be gold right there.
It'll be done next week. Like I've been working on
cool.
it for, a couple of months now, and it'll be done next week.
We'd love to hear from it at some point.
Yeah.
If you need any beta testers, I'm sure there's going to be a few hands up in our little community. So.
All right, thanks, Martha.
Yeah, of course.
It's my mom's name, by the way. So.
What's that?
It's my mom's name, by the way, Martha.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Bye.
I love that. She's probably
yeah. Thanks.
Of course.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Sounds good. Well, I guess we will wrap things up here. Martha, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it. The conversation during the webinar was great. Also, the one before. The two before were actually great as well. So I'll post those at the end just so everybody knows what happened beforehand. So, it pays to get here early. Let's just put it that way.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Terrific. All right. Have yourself a fantastic day and have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you in the server.
You know what? I saw somebody present a couple days ago, and they do like it's family coaching or something, but still they're certified Lego coaches. Have you ever heard of that before?
What? No.
Let me tell you. I know I love Legos. Let me tell you. So what they have discovered, it was NASA, I think, that discovered it first, but then Lego took it. But what they discovered is that if we're just verbalizing, if say you and I are trying to work out a problem And whether it's, business problem, whatever, we're trying to work on something together verbally. You're going to use about 15% of your brain. But whenever you are enacting or using or engaging both hands in a tactile way as well, all of a sudden it kicks up to like 80%. So like the creative genius, just naturally kicks up to like 80%. Just by building something while you're talking. And so that's like what seems to be the foundation or the core of that certification. But I was just like, that kind of changes the game. It kind of changes everything. If you really actually, if you actually implement it, that's a really cool thing. So,
yeah. So is doodling like low-key building? Because there's a lot of people that talk and doodle at the same time.
That's a thing, right? It's a thing to engage more. I think for those of us that have ADHD, which I think most founders, most entrepreneurs naturally are, we're spectrumy anyway in some capacity. Yeah. And so for those of us with ADHD, we actually have to fill up our bandwidth. So some of us have to have the TV on while we're doing something. And then there's other times where we have to turn the TV off, because the difference is if I'm doing something that doesn't really take a whole lot of my brain, but I need to get it done, like it's just sort of stupid work, but I have to do it. I need the TV on to fill up that space in my bandwidth. So it's
I feel so seen right now. This is exactly me. I feel so seen right now.
Yeah. But then if it's like something that you need, like conditional logic, you need to understand the who's it's and what's it's of everything, then the TV's off. I'm in a dark room. I'm in the quiet. I've locked the door. Nobody come in. Yes, exactly. And that's because that has taken up my whole bandwidth. So it's tight anyway we slice it, but we have to fill up the whole cup. Or else that's where the fidgeting and then all the weird stuff starts happening, is because we don't know just to fill it up.
Yeah. And then I'll take this into the everyday life. We're driving, we have the radio up jamming really loud, and then we have to find a place to either park or find the location that we're going to be in. So what's the first thing we do?
Turn it down.
The volume of the radio. Yep. Exactly.
I can't think. Yeah. Right. I can't think. Where am I? Everybody shut up. Yeah. Yep.
So true.
That's it.
All right. We got a fair amount of people in here, and it's almost 5 after. So that was a good little talk.
That's it for today, guys.
Thanks for joining the webinar, everybody. Have a great day. See ya. Bye. No, just kidding.